clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the report.
I mean, the trade took a little minute to happen, too, on the back end, on my end. Like, I had to get transferred from the penal colony to the men's prison in Moscow.
Stephen A. Smith just sparked a firestorm around the WNBA, dropping a hint about hidden DNA records tied to Brittney Griner, questioning why the league continues to let her play without real consequences. Imagine that for a moment, if the rumors hold even a shred of truth. Why hasn't the league stepped in? Tonight, we peel this controversy back layer by layer. Stephen A. Smith made his career on bold takes, but when he suggested undisclosed documents linked to Brittney Griner, it didn't land like his usual theatrics. It felt heavier. He spoke with that sharp edge only he can deliver, pausing just long enough to make viewers wonder if he knew more than he was letting on. He pressed on why Griner, despite years of on-court aggression, has never faced consequences strong enough to shake the league. Fans and analysts caught it instantly. Was Stephen A. simply building drama for a segment, or was there real weight behind his words? Think about it. This is a man with connections at every level of basketball, and when he drops a name, it usually means something. So, what exactly was he pointing toward? If there truly are whispers of documents from her time in Russia, why does the WNBA stay silent? Why hasn't anyone even acknowledged the smoke? That silence, that's what Stephen A. leaned on. And silence in sports often echoes louder than any press release ever could. To grasp why his words detonated, you have to step back and see Griner's dominance. She isn't just tall at 6 feet 9 inches with a wingspan that swallows passing lanes whole. She bends the geometry of the court itself. From the moment she entered the league, she's been a defensive anchor, topping the charts in blocks year after year, while still putting up double digits on offense. A champion, an all-star regular, her presence alone forces opponents to rewire entire game plans. But here's where the tension simmers. Nobody questions her skill. They question the advantage. Is her strength purely natural, or does it tilt the balance in ways that feel unfair? That's why Stephen A.'s DNA remark didn't just land. It struck like lightning because it tapped directly into a debate that fans have never let go.
You would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing.
People already see her as a physical outlier in the league. Add speculation about tests or records, and suddenly every blocked shot and hard foul looks like part of a bigger story. It's not just dominant.
People already view her as a physical outlier in the league. Add in speculation about hidden tests or records, and suddenly every blocked shot, every hard foul feels like it belongs to a much larger story. It isn't just dominance anymore, it becomes dominance under suspicion. Griner's time imprisoned in Russia still stands as one of the most dramatic chapters in modern sports. Arrested over cannabis possession, she was held for months until the U.S. finally negotiated her release in exchange for Victor Bout, an arms dealer the world knew as the Merchant of Death. That swap stunned global audiences. On paper, it looked wildly uneven, a basketball star traded for a man convicted of fueling wars. The exchange alone raised eyebrows about why Griner held such value to American negotiators. Theories started right then, and Stephen A.'s recent comments only poured gasoline over those glowing embers. Imagine if Russia had indeed run medical tests. If data was taken, could those results have shaped the deal? We may never know for sure, but the speculation clings tightly. And from the moment she touched U.S. soil again, every move she made on the court felt magnified by that international backdrop. Every foul, every celebration, every flare of emotion carried more gravity, as if the world wasn't watching a game, but watching her live out a headline. Her return was framed as a story of resilience. Teammates spoke of her leadership. Coaches praised her toughness. But the real story wasn't just about her comeback. It was about how she looked the moment she played. Right away, fans noticed she remained every bit as physical, maybe even more intense. Crushing screens, elbows thrown in the paint, heated standoffs with referees, it all became part of the spectacle. Stat sheets backed it up. Her foul rate sits among the highest for centers, and highlight reels often feature as many clashes as they do clean finishes. That's the piece Stephen A. zeroed in on. He wasn't breaking down her jumper or her free throws. He was pressing the uncomfortable question. If she's repeatedly at the center of controversy, why hasn't the league intervened? Fans don't just crave spectacular plays, they crave fairness. And every time the WNBA stays silent, those whispers only grow louder.
Trade took a little minute to happen too on the back end, on my end. Like I had to get transferred from the penal colony to the men's prison in Moscow, and I got checked into there. I knew I was getting traded, but the way they were treating me and their one little last play to terrorize me or mess with me, because when they were checking me in, they had me stripped down butt naked in front of a room of like probably about 7-8 men, and they had the Polaroid and they got me spinning in a circle while they like taking photos, right, of my tattoos, because my tattoos are, you know, whatever they are.
Was it just the tattoos?
Then came Caitlin Clark, the most hyped rookie in decades, storming into the league with record-shattering college numbers, a game built on range, vision, and unshakable composure. Clark instantly became the face of a new era, drawing sellout crowds everywhere she played. That spotlight placed her on a direct collision course with Griner. When they shared the floor, the contrast was magnetic. Clark lives on finesse, thriving in space, while Griner commands with brute force and paint dominance. It felt like old guard colliding with new blood. And every moment Clark absorbed contact from Griner only sharpened the debate. Clark leads the league in free throws drawn, but when those fouls came from Griner, they looked less like basketball plays and more like survival tests. Stephen A. saw the headlines before they landed. His words hit at the very moment Clark's star was exploding, turning a rivalry into a cultural flashpoint. The league's past and future were clashing, and Griner was right in the center. Which raises the question, why hasn't the WNBA acted? Other leagues hand out suspensions, fines, and reviews when stars cross the line. In Griner's case, the response has been silence. No investigations, no statements, no concern, just games rolling on as if nothing simmers beneath. That silence doesn't just protect Griner, it risks the league's credibility. Fans wonder if star power outweighs fairness. And consider her value. She's a veteran, a global figure, a symbol of resilience after Russia. Removing her dents the league's marketing machine. Sponsors and media partners view her as a magnet for attention, and losing that spotlight could ripple through revenue and visibility. But the longer the silence holds, the more it feels like favoritism. Stephen A. locked in on that gap, and fans see it too. They can sense the double standard. And nothing feeds suspicion like unanswered questions, especially when accountability seems to stop at the league's biggest star. The longer it drags, the more pressure builds, and the harder it becomes for the WNBA to respond without appearing reactive instead of proactive.
Clearly, she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The
or the
Merchant
American
of
Soul.
Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports. That's who they let out. Mm-hmm. For her. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing.
The politics of this situation can't be ignored. Griner's story stretches far beyond basketball. She's been shaped into a symbol of diplomacy, of social justice, of league identity itself. That gives her a kind of power few athletes ever touch. And when a player carries that much cultural weight, organizations move carefully. The WNBA knows that suspending or even strongly disciplining her could trigger backlash that overshadows the game. That's why whispers of protection take root. Stephen A. wasn't only questioning Griner, he was asking if the league is even strong enough to police its own stars. Every game she plays without consequence makes it look like players, not commissioners, are the ones in control. And that kind of story can spiral quickly. Who truly runs the WNBA? The leadership or the stars they are too afraid to lose? That question hangs in the air. And it cuts deeper because the league's credibility with sponsors, networks, and even its own athletes depends on whether discipline applies equally. If the league bends rules for one, what message does that send to everyone else? These political layers press on every decision, making the controversy feel much bigger than a simple on-court issue. From the fans' view, the root issue is fairness. Picture a rookie grinding for her spot, fighting for respect, only to see a star veteran escape calls that would earn her an immediate technical. That builds resentment. Fans of Caitlin Clark and other rising stars see it too. They watch Griner bark at refs, throw elbows, and skate away untouched while rookies get whistled for the smallest push-offs. That doesn't just wear down players, it wears down the fans spending their money on tickets. Dominance is admired when it feels earned, but favoritism, that crosses the line. Stephen A's words struck the same chord those fans have been whispering about all along. By calling out the league's silence, he gave their frustration a voice. And when fans start doubting integrity, trust begins to crumble. That's a dangerous place for any league hoping to grow. From a fan's perspective, the heart of the issue is fairness. Picture grinding as a rookie, clawing for space in the league, only to see a veteran star skate by with things that would earn you an instant technical. That plants resentment. Fans of Caitlin Clark and other rising stars see it, too. They watch Griner snarl at referees, throw sharp elbows, and somehow walk away clean, while newcomers absorb whistles for every little push. That doesn't just frustrate players, it frustrates the paying crowd. People will respect dominance when it's earned, but favoritism always feels like betrayal. Stephen A's comments landed because they mirrored what the fans had already been feeling in silence. By questioning the WNBA's refusal to act, he confirmed their doubts. And once fans start questioning integrity, trust begins to erode. That's a dangerous place for a league trying to grow. The real tragedy is how this drama overshadows everything else unfolding inside the WNBA. This should be a golden era of talent. AJA Wilson is delivering MVP-level performances. Sabrina Ionescu is rewriting what a guard can be with her shooting and vision. Breanna Stewart continues to dominate every corner of the floor. And Caitlin Clark has brought an energy the league hasn't felt in years. Yet, with all of that brilliance, the conversation still circles back to Brittney Griner. Instead of celebrating highlights, the chatter shifts to DNA, aggression, and favoritism. For teammates and fans who only want to live in the joy of the game, it's exhausting. Stephen A knows controversy sells, and by pressing this angle, he's pulled the spotlight further away from basketball and deeper into scandal. That's why this moment feels so dangerous for the WNBA. It risks losing control of its own story. So what comes next? If Stephen A is right, and there are records the world hasn't seen, then the WNBA may be sitting on a ticking bomb. And silence can only hold for so long. At some point, the truth, whatever it is, will surface. Fans will demand answers, and the league will be forced to decide, protect its star or protect its integrity. Meanwhile, Griner isn't slowing down. She plays her game with the same edge, fierce and unapologetic. Every battle in the paint, every whistle, every heated exchange now feels magnified under the spotlight. Is this the path to the biggest scandal the league has ever faced, or just another rumor destined to fade away? That's the suspense Stephen A left hanging in the air. For now, the WNBA stands trapped between star power and accountability, balancing on a line so thin it could break without warning. So the question lingers, should the league finally step in, or should Brittney Griner's game be left to speak for itself?